Gregory, thank you for asking about my thoughts on the popular method of getting clients, especially for coaches, called the Prosperous Coach, um, by Rich Litvin, particularly Steve Chandler also. And just FYI, I have started reading the book. I couldn't finish it. It wasn't right for me. And without reading the book, I've had at least a dozen clients explain the method to me over the years, at least. And I've read other things about it. Anyway, so long story short, Gregory, do you want to do a quick summary from your take? Sorry, just for the recording.
Sure,
Yeah.
a summary of what that process
Yeah.
is. Yeah, it's I may be not getting the words exactly
No,
right,
it's
but
fine.
the basic gist of it is to a four-part structure to that process. It's invite someone, so one has a rapport with someone and sees that they're navigating either a challenge or that they have an aspiration to succeed and create a heartfelt goal, all of the territory that a coach might work with someone around, and then invite them into doing. They don't even call it a session in the book. In the book, it's called a conversation. Invite them into having a deep conversation, which to explore that territory and see if the coach might be helpful. If they, and then make it clear there's no attachment, it's perfectly fine to say no, thank you. But if you're up for it, I'll be willing to waive my fee and support you in for for a measure of time. And the time depends on the coach, but it's recommended, particularly by Steve Chandler, likes to do at least like a 2 hour, like a 2 to 3 hour. So you're really doing a comprehensive looking at the life and then picking one thing to make some moves on that. Then once that's done, so it's invite and then wow them by serving, invite, serve, and then propose once you've served, meaning propose. So if you'd like to work further, then this is my rate. These are the issues or the goals that I see that you're going for, and this is how I can support you. And then, provide in the proposal what the particulars are in terms of fee, frequency of meetings, all of what that might entail. Yeah. So those are three of the parts, but that's the basic. I think
What was the fourth?
I'm momentarily
Okay, that's
spacing,
okay.
but it fundamentally, those are the three primary elements.
Okay,
There's a fourth in there, but
that's
that's
okay.
the idea is then,
Maybe there's a follow-up or something like
yeah,
that. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
But then
And
and then you sign.
right. And those who are watching this replay, if you know what the other element or elements are that we didn't cover, comment below, and that'll help out others as well.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for summarizing that. That's actually really, really good summary and concise. And so here are my thoughts about it. One is that I think it's always a good idea to practice our skills and to serve other people. So 2 or 3 hour or 90 minute, usually it's said to be, at least something like 90 minutes to 2 hours or longer sessions where you really are, if you are coming to it with a genuine sense of this is a service conversation, not a sales conversation. I mean, you really could take it either way. Like your primary thought coming in, you can only have one primary thought. You can't, because, well, I want both. Well, no. But what would you be most happy to have as the outcome, right? It's like, oh, I'd love to have them as a client. Well, then you're coming to it with a sales thought, which is not bad. That's what sales conversations are for, right? Which is what exploratory conversations are for. Well, even exploratory is a different idea. Exploratory is, what I most want. Exploratory would be what I most want from this. What I would be happy in this conversation is to figure out if we are a fit, if the client is ideal for me. But in the prosperous coach paradigm, it sounds to me that it's murky what the primary motive is. I don't know. Gregory, would you agree with that? Or what would they suggest?
Yeah.
What have you felt the primary motive is in this
Well,
paradigm?
well, theoretically, it's an exploration of whether it's a match,
It's a match. Okay.
theoretically. But what I have found through
Now that
some
you've done,
now,
before we started recording, you mentioned you've done probably 80 to 100 hours
yeah,
of this
yeah.
stuff. So
Oh,
like dozens of such sessions.
easily, where some
Yeah,
folks have actually become clients and some
sure.
folks not.
Yeah.
And I like the fact, like, this is going to sound funny, but I like me. Like, I like the fact that I'm genuinely
Who
not
wouldn't?
attached.
You're
Thank
great
you.
to work
Thank
with.
you.
Yeah.
You
No,
know,
and that's actually a really beautiful reflection. It's like I like how I am in those sessions.
yeah, yeah.
You know?
Thank you. And it's true. It's like I really genuinely have no attachment. And at the same time, I think as I'm growing, as I had a birthday last week, as you know, as I'm growing up inside of myself, there's another part of me that, while my service consciousness is not in question for me, there is a responsibility to my time and my
Yeah. Yeah.
professionalism where I go, you know, does this, I'm not ruling out the idea of, on occasion, if it feels really truly aligned, to waive my fee and just see, can I be helpful to this person? Is this, I'm fine with that. But as kind of a default go-to place to volunteer,
Right.
even sometimes in full transparency, with that orientation, I have, not always, but frequently, even before someone has requested, would I consider waiving my fee? I've been
Yeah.
quick to say, and I'll waive my fee. I've even
Yeah.
had the experience. I have a
Yeah.
longtime client who I
Well,
said
because you
that,
enjoy the work
and I
genuinely.
and I have someone I've worked with for several years with considerable hours each week. And when we first started working together, I volunteered to waive my fee. He looked like I was at me like I was crazy. He goes,
Yeah.
"No, no, 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 no. What are you
Yeah.
talking about?"
Right.
Which is the
Right.
kind
It's
of
kind of
client you
like
want to
it's
have.
right. It's kind of like going to the mechanic, they're fixing your car, and then you're like, then they don't take the money. You're like, wait, so
Yes,
this is your business. This
right. The first time I change your engine out is on me, just to see if I do a good job.
right. No. Well, okay, so back to this, here are my reflections on this. Like
Yeah, thank you.
I do, it does feel to me that the primary motive is murky. Um, because, well, what's the book called? The Prosperous Coach. Not the coach who has unlimited time and and is doing this stuff for fun. Prosperous Coach. And by prosperous, of course, we could talk about inner riches of doing this stuff for free, but they're talking about, hey, you've got a business that works. Okay. So George, but you're authentic. You're all about serving others and content as ministry. And so how do you come to doing exploratory calls in a genuine and service-oriented way? Genuine and service-oriented must be aligned in pure intention from both parties. Okay, so what do I mean by that? If there's a possibility that I might feel resentful having just given 2 hours to somebody, not just 2 hours, not, time is time, but then the energetic exchange, like I can't even imagine after 2 hours of intense and honest coaching of somebody, I think I'm done for the day, right? I don't think I could do much more that day. So uh, that is, we have to be honest. That's, okay, that's a real gift. And if it's going to be the question mark of this may or may not become a client, then we need purely, if we're going to come to it with pure intentions, we need to admit the fact that this is a volunteer service. Okay. And it's okay to volunteer. You might say, once a week, I have a volunteer slot in my calendar, especially for those who can't afford it, especially not for the people who can afford it, but they're just kind of stingy. No, for the people who are of less means, I'm going to carve out one session a week, one session a month. There's no minimum that makes you a good or bad person. because, everybody has a different life and different requirements. Okay. So what I prefer then with exploratory conversations is that we both parties know, hey, you're showing up for us to gauge whether or not we should keep working, that we should work together, that we should do. And so I keep those conversations half an hour, because I can get a pretty, and this is partly a practice too, and you probably have a sense of it too. Like, you could probably get a sense of whether someone is going to be probably, not 100%, but probably 75%, get a sense of, okay, this is either going to be probably a good client or a red flag. Not that there's a bad person, but it's like, ooh, there's not a good fit, because they're looking for this, and that's not something that I enjoy providing. Okay, so half an hour to me is enough, especially if what I'm noticing in that conversation is when they're telling me what I'm asking them to do is to tell me what their problem is, what they want my help with. Okay, and when I start just testing out, giving them some advice, are they attentive and eager, or are they no? I've tried that before. Oh, okay. Like sometimes I can tell people are like writing stuff down. That's good, but they don't have to write things down. They could just be attentive and eager and open and like asking me questions. Oh, really? Oh, that's interesting. I never thought of that. What do you think about this? Then it's like, ooh, okay, all right. There's something I could do with them. I mean, I think they're going to get value out of my my service. Okay, so that half an hour. So then you might say, well, George, I mean, part of the whole thing about the Prosperous Coach is that they don't really trust your service yet. That's why you have this 2 or 3 hours with them, to basically charm them, if we're being honest, to charm them and build a relationship such that they might even feel bad and not reciprocating at that point. My God, Gregory, you spent 3 hours with me. Can I at least, buy you dinner or whatever, right? So that I can get you some more free coaching from you. No, but it is part of the marketing process, is the charm, or at least the relationship that's starting to be built. And of course, part of that conversation helps them to see, wow, I do have some things that we can work on together. So anyway, it's partly a marketing conversation. We have to admit to that. So George, in your model of half an hour exploratory call, how do you do the marketing? Right? Like, can you really sell someone in half an hour? Well, number one, I'm not trying to sell them. I'm actually trying to figure out the fit by asking them, what do you think I can help you with? Have you tried this? Have you tried that? Okay. And then I should mention, by the way, in the 30 minutes, I make sure that when there's only 5 minutes left, so after 25 minutes, I as quickly as appropriate. Okay, they might be on a thought, or I might be on a thought, but around 5 minutes to the end, I will say, so the time is almost up. I know these things go quickly. Do you have any other questions about how I work with clients? That's the only sales part of my call. Do you have any questions? If we haven't talked about it yet, also, do you have any questions about how I work with clients? If we've already been talking about, hey, any final questions about how I work with clients? And they might say, yeah, do you have a package, or how does this work? Like, what do we do now? Or they say, well, how much is it? But those kinds of things we can, of course, role play and practice how we answer those things well. But so then, George, how do we even get people to this half-hour exploratory call? This is where content comes in, right? Like, the authentic content marketing is, on a daily basis, your videos are out there on YouTube, your posts are out there on Instagram or Facebook, and hundreds of people, maybe thousands of people a month, are just continually dipping in here and there. And when they are ready, every month, there may be a few people who are ready now, or a few dozen people who are ready to say yes to your call to action that month. Because in our authentic content marketing method, we are not just 100% free content, no calls to action. No, 80% free content, no calls to action, and 20% calls to action, purely to say, hey, folks, you know that I've been talking about this stuff. I love talking. I also love working with people on this stuff. So if you are going through this challenge, if you have this yearning, if you'd like to explore working with me, please contact me and let's have an exploratory session. I have a limited number of these per week. And if you are genuinely interested, so you see what I mean? So the content is doing the heavy lifting for us while we're sleeping, right? The content's already out there, being found on search engines, on YouTube, they're seeing it on Instagram. If you're hopefully running Facebook ads or Instagram ads, that's getting it to people. So that's doing the heavy lifting so that by the time they come to the call, you actually can kind of relax, because at this point you are interviewing them. Actually, truthfully, that's what I'm doing. I'm always interviewing clients like, maybe that's not the right fit. Let me think about somebody else who might be a better fit for them. So Gregory, is that helpful?
That's extremely helpful, George, on a number of levels. So thank you. One of the things that it's helpful for, there's a part of me that has been waiting with my easily referable issue or easily referable
That's something we
offer.
talk about in the
Yeah,
enrollment course.
yeah, and even though I'm clear, as you and I have had a few opportunities to explore what that is, the first likely one that I'll be offering in terms of a group offer
Yes.
or a couples offer.
Thank you. Yes.
There's another one that I have wondered about, but you just inspired me in what you shared. The other one is my one-on-one work. And I realize, based on what you just said, I don't need to wait for making those once a week, like you have your Wednesday sale.
Yeah.
I could start doing that immediately with something as simple as the frame that you just offered along the line, like every Wednesday or what, pick a day. If you're enjoying these videos, please know I really love working with people and supporting folks navigating this territory one-on-one.
Yes.
If that is appealing to you, I offer a 30-minute thing, but and so on.
Thank
so
you. That's
thank you.
Brilliant.
Very helpful.
Very helpful. Good. Yeah. And just so for your own time management, you might also schedule, even though you should schedule a buffer after the 30-minute appointments for yourself, 15 to 30-minute buffer, knowing that, okay, if the conversation is really good, you might go over. And of course, asking them if it's okay if they have an appointment they need to go to, but if they don't and they want to continue just for another 15 minutes to kind of work things out, to make sure that there's something is completed, if they were on a thought that's completed, and then talk about, okay, what's next, etc. So anyway, Gregory, thank you for sharing about what you learned about that process and letting me kind of reflect and share some of mine here.
Thank you. A quick last piece on it, just of gratitude, is what I feel like also shows up as you're talking about it, is the place inside of me that's going, I'm at peace. Whatever my relationship with money and being paid for doing what I love, and my own internal making peace with that over a number of years, where I'm inside myself in this moment is, I'm going to lead with generosity of spirit as I do across the board. So at the beginning of the relationship, I already know that about myself. This feels also like an invitation. My 30-minute complimentary consultation to check it out, that's generous enough. If we're going to do a session, and let's not make believe it's a conversation, even a deep conversation as it's framed that way. It's not a deep conversation. There's nothing casual about it. I'm going to be holding a sacred space where you can transform your life. Because I'm going to hold up
service.
I'm going to provide a space where you can meet yourself with loving and all and so on. And so in that, since I'm also going to be investing my time and skill and all of my loving in that container, it's only appropriate that as I'm checking it out, that you also check it out by investing my fee for our time together,
for the actual sessions.
For an actual session. And there's no there's still no attachment, but at least let's both step up with a 100% mutually respectful investment.
This is a professional service. It's not a volunteer gig. It's a professional service that you love providing. And
Yeah.
that, of course, you
Yeah.
know,
Thank
and
thank you.
thank you
Yeah, thank you.
for doing this. Yeah. And, you know, last thing is just like, we are honoring ourselves when we are pure in our intent. We're honoring ourselves and we're honoring the other. We're pure in our intent and being clear what each session is for. Okay. So yeah, thank you so much, Gregory.